green olive. I'm not a huge tuna person and cook tuna, and I love this recipe. So don't let the fact that there's like tuna and things in it scare you off. First thing we're going to do is get our water going for the pasta. And I've got a pan getting hot here. We'll see how hot this really is. The recipe is from a website called The Pasta Project. I have made a couple of changes, not a lot. She calls for 5 tablespoons of olive oil to start off with. I think that's a little bit much. So we're going to put in about half of what she had on there. And we're going to get that in our pan here. And I know this part's going to sound gross to some people, but we are putting in 4 to 5 anchovies. These melt into the olive oil. Do not ever put anchovies on pizza. It's gross. But anchovies in this are delicious, and it adds an extra depth of the flavor. So you really want to put the anchovies in this. And we'll get those started. The recipe calls for 2 cloves of garlic and to leave them whole. I'm going to put in 4 because that's what I do. And then we're going to let that cook around for a couple of minutes. And 7 ounces of our green olives are going to go into this pan. And we'll get that all stirred around there. And clean as we go. Not something I always do, but we'll try to make the husband happy tonight by cleaning as we go. Now with this, just for ease of it, like if you wanted to do this on a weekday dinner, I'm just going to use a little bit of a baked salad here. And we're just going to toss this all in here. I added a little romaine because my husband doesn't like just these chopped salad things. He likes that little extra bit of the green romaine. So we're going to put some of that in. Don't use your teeth like I just did, but I'm a little bit crazy, so we use our teeth. We're not going to put the dressing on the salad quite yet, but we're going to get all these other little things opened and put on there. And then we'll set that aside for a little bit. And to give you an idea of what that looks like, we'll give you a little show there. And then it calls for 12 ounces of either crushed or pureed. And I apologize for the tapping there, which would be about half this bottle of tomatoes. That looks pretty good. We can always add more at the end of the recipe if we determine that we think it needs a little bit more red sauce part. So we'll get that going. Oh, and that's telling me that my oven is warm for the garlic bread. I was like, what's that beeping noise? And then we're going to put in 7 ounces of the tuna. For this recipe, if you can find it, I prefer the tuna that comes in a glass jar as opposed to the canned tuna. I just think it has a fresher and better flavor to it. And now we're going to let this cook up for a little bit. This goes for probably about 5 to 10 minutes. And this is the fun of cooking live, people. In reality, we would cook the tomato sauce for 5 to 10 minutes, and then we would add in the tuna. If you do what I just did, it's no big deal, people. It just sits there and it cooks. So let's start assembling our garlic bread that we're going to have today. So we're going to take one of these heat in the oven bake rolls, and we're just going to cut this in half. And then I made this ahead of time tonight. This is just a little black garlic and butter. I know it's a little weird looking, but it does taste super, super good. I did use unsalted butter so that I could control the amount of salt that I would put in it. But you can use, if all you have in the house is salted butter, go ahead and just use that. It'll be fine. We just want to make sure we slather this baby up, because there is nothing better than butter and garlic. Some people can argue and fight me on that one, but I don't think you'll win, because there is nothing better than garlic and butter. And then we're just going to put this on our pan over here so that that is ready to go in the oven. And then we're going to give this another stir, just every once in a while, to make sure everything's going good. I'm used to my gas stove. This is my first time cooking on this electric burner thing, so that itself is going to take a little getting used to. And then to top our pasta, we're going to want some flat leaf parsley. So while this is all going, let's start chopping some of the pasta. And all I do is just kind of take the knife and rock it back and forth over it until you have it about the size that you want it to be. And keep in mind, a recipe is just a guideline. So if you're like, oh my gosh, olives and red sauce sounds so good over the top of pasta, but I'm vegetarian, then leave out the anchovies and leave out the tuna and make it for Meatless Monday. If you're like, oh, the tuna sounds good, but I'm not sure about the anchovies, you can leave them out. Not going to taste as good, I don't think. But a recipe, as my dad always says, is just a guideline. It's not anything set in stone. Just like, I read the recipe and I didn't like the 5 tablespoons of olive oil. So I cut it down to about 2.5, 3 tablespoons of olive oil. Because that's the amount that I feel more comfortable with. And that's all what cooking is. A recipe just gives you an idea. And once we get this pasta down, we'll tell you about a horror story. So, of the worst Italian restaurant that I've ever been to in my entire life. So that's about good. Let's give the parsley just a teeny bit more. I know this is our first time going live, so we probably won't have too many people joining us, but hopefully we'll have a bunch of people that watch the video afterwards. I haven't quite gotten down to editing of videos down, so I figured this was the easiest way to start getting some videos up, was to do them live. So we're going to be doing a bunch of short recipes here over the next month or so, and then we'll start adding in some edited videos. And that's what that's all starting to look like. So it's getting nice and steamy. The other reason I added the little extra garlic is I do like garlic, and because the recipe calls for leaving it whole, I just wanted to have a little bit extra in there for it to infuse into everything and make it super yummy. And then tonight we are using a bucante pasta. This is just a little bit thicker pasta than a spaghetti, And I think it even has like a small hole in the pasta. But the first thing we're going to do is salt our water, because you want your water to taste good. And yes, I know it looks like I just threw a ton of salt in there, but you need a lot of salt to make a good pasta. And we're just going to dump that bag on in there. Hopefully people can hear me okay when I'm turning my back to you. And we'll get that all down. And, well, it says 12 minutes on the package, but I always find that they tell you too long on those packages. So we're going to set a timer for about 7 minutes, and then we'll come back and kind of test it and kind of get this all pushed down into our pan. Oh, or spill water all over your stovetop. Because, you know. And then let's throw our garlic bread in here and get that going. So while we're kind of waiting on things, let's talk about this nasty Italian restaurant. I'm trying not to swear to be good for YouTube. So we were down in Florida and we went to this restaurant that was brand new and like prided itself on being authentic Italian. Oh! Let's just give that a stir. See, sometimes things happen like pots boiling over. So they prided themselves on being authentic Italian. But when you went on their website, it said they were fusion Italian. So I'm sorry, but pick a lane, people. You're either fusion, meaning you're mixing your Italian with something else, or you're authentic Italian. But you can't be both. There is no such thing as fusion authentic Italian. It doesn't exist. So we should have known the meal was going to be abysmal when my aunt ordered minestrone soup, and she looked at me from across the table and said, "This is the first bowl of soup I've ever had to cut with a knife and fork." Yes, you heard me correctly. We had to cut soup with a knife and a fork. So that should have given us an idea of what this meal was going to be like. So my husband ordered lobster risotto, one of his favorite dishes, and he loves Gordon Ramsay's rendition of it. So we're looking forward to this meal. We're all excited. I ordered a crispy quail, and my mom had chicken. I can't remember what everybody had. But out comes my husband's risotto. And I can tell he's kind of picking at it. And he's not really eating it. And I was kind of like, what's going on here? Because my husband loves risotto. And I'm kind of looking at his rice, and it's brown. Like they cooked the lobster risotto in beef stock instead of seafood stock. It was so bad. I took one bite of it, and I was like, this isn't even edible. So then I had ordered crispy quail. And quails are very little birds, and I ordered it crispy. So you would think that they'd like cross-hatch the skin on it or something so that you can get your knife in there to cut it. Well, it had this crispy skin, and it wasn't cross-hatched at all. And because the bird is so small, the bones are like right underneath. So as I'm cutting this quail, the quail literally flies off my plate, goes under the table, slides under my mother's chair, and I am on my hands and knees crawling under the chair at this fancy Italian restaurant to pick one of my quail off of the floor. The second quail I had to eat with my hands so not to have it go across the floor. And apparently when my aunt went to leave a terrible review on this restaurant, she found out that the owners like to argue with people when they leave reviews. So right now I'm adding just a little salt and pepper to our pasta. And they will literally like tell people, well, you just don't know what authentic food is. Well, authentic minestrone soup, you eat with a spoon, not a knife and fork. So yeah, my aunt left the world's worst review ever on that restaurant. And this is starting to smell so good and so yummy. And we're going to add in some of our parsley, but we want to leave just a little bit of the parsley left over for some garnish and give that a good stir. I wish this was smell-o-vision, you guys, because this smells so good. This smells so, so yummy. And let's take a peek at our garlic bread. That's coming along good. I'm actually going to take the heat up on that just a teeny bit. And we're going to just kind of take our knife and slide some of that parsley for garnish over to the side of our cutting board here. But yeah, that I don't think I've ever had such bad Italian in my entire life. It was not good at all. And I thought this, I guess it's a Mediterranean salad. I thought it was a Caesar salad kit. And I was like, why is the dressing brown? Oops, apparently I didn't read the package that well. But that sometimes happens. And that's okay. I like Italian dressing on salads too. I remember one person on the review of the restaurant had kind of commented about them not like having chicken parm. And they answered the person back, making a big deal about how authentic they are and how they don't serve American Italian. Well, what's your fusion with? That is what I have to ask on that one. But yeah, that restaurant was a little bit crazy. Ooh, and that's our 7 minutes on our pasta. So we'll give that a check here in just a second. I just want to finish toasting this. And we'll kind of put that to the side. Now, people will say you can test pasta, throw it against a wall. No, you take a piece and you bite it. See if it's the texture and al dente-ness that you want. My husband teases me all the time because I like fingers of steel. So normally you would probably want to use like a hot glove or mitten on that as opposed to just grabbing it. And then you don't want to ever drain your pasta because you need that starchy water to help make the sauce stick to the pasta. So we're just going to use our little tongs here to get this into our bowl. I know, dead air. But we'll survive. We'll survive with a little dead air there. I tend to spill things, so we have to give it a little bit there. Oh! And then I'm just going to pour a little bit of that pasta water in here. I probably should have saved a little bit more. But we're good. And we'll give this a little stir. A little stirry. Now they did say to pick the big cloves of garlic out of this. So we will take those out and we'll mix those in with that olive oil and have that for some dipping bread on another day. There should be one more in here because I said I put in 4, didn't I, people? That one doesn't want to be found. Where did he go? I feel like I'm a, who do you call those people that go underwater in the funny wetsuits with the tanks on their back? A scuba diver. I feel like I'm a scuba diver trying to find the lost piece of garlic. And we found it. Okay. Does that look good? So we'll let that hang out in our pan a little bit. And I know this looks a little weird that I'm reaching into my sink, but I did want a little extra pasta water. And because I had a bowl in there, when I accidentally dumped out the pasta water, it did, some of it landed inside my tuna bowl. So good thing for putting the bowl into the sink. So we'll let that hang out for a second. Give that a tap so we get all that tuna off because you have to have all that good stuff. And now we are going to grab out that garlic bread. And, let's do this one over here. Ooh, yummy, yummy, yummy. This all needs to get into my tummy. Yes, I know that was the worst rhyme ever. You know, dad jokes. But in this case, mom jokes. I'm surprised our dog does not seem like she has made an appearance into the kitchen yet tonight. Oh, my director was just pointing at me that she is laying right outside the camera. She can't be seen on camera. But she is definitely hanging out here in the kitchen with us as we cook. So we have our salad, and we'll plate up some of this lovely pasta. And turn this down a little bit. Got to get some of these olives in here, though, because the olives are my favorite part of this dish. Oh, yummy, yummy. We'll get some parsley on here. Now, normally I would grate my own cheese. I forgot to buy cheese. We had some already grated in the fridge. So we're just going to toss some of that on there. Put a little hunk of this garlic bread on the side. We have a lovely salad there. Let's grab a fork. And there you have olive and tuna spaghetti. You have to make this. This is so good. And that black garlic on the garlic bread just gives like a little bit of sweetness to everything. And it is so yummy. If you learned anything today, please hit the subscribe or the like button. Join us the next time we go live for a Sunday supper. If there's anything you'd like to see or learn about, put it in the comments down below. And we look forward to seeing and dining with you on another evening. Bon appetit.